Welcome to the initial episode, our big debut of Timeout with uSTADIUM. We're upgraded for 2021. We've got a whole bunch of cool things coming for you, but let's start off with me. I'm your host, Brianna, the resident Boston sports fan here. You will find that out eventually. And I am joined by my co-hosts, Nick and Frankie, and they are here to debate everything under the sun, and it's not their first rodeo. So guys, welcome. I'm happy we're all here.
Yeah, it's a Boston sports fan with two New York sports fans, so it should be fun. I'm excited. I know we kind of did a little preview of this the past few weeks on Timeout with uSTADIUM. Then we took a little Christmas, New Year's hiatus, but back and ready to go.
I've been waiting for this for the last 2 weeks. I know Nick is not ready for the fuego I'm about to bring him. So I'm like, what am I, Nick? Like 1,000 for 1,000 against you in debates. I haven't lost debate against you. Yeah,
really? Who's judging you?
Yeah.
This time it's me, so we shall see. All right. So for those who don't know the layout of the show, we have 5 topics that we're going to be debating. I'm going to chime in, but the guys are really going to take the lead on this. And if I need to yell at them, I will. Don't think I won't. And then we have fan questions. We have 5 rapid fire fan questions that came from you guys on the uSTADIUM app, and we'll get to those later. But we know who you are. We know what your questions are. We've got them ready to go. And that's pretty much it. We're going to do this thing. You guys ready?
I think I'm
Let's
ready.
get it.
I think so.
All right. First and foremost, first topic of the show, Sunday Night Football. Saw a lot of controversy. Whether you agree with it or not, a lot of people are angry at the Philadelphia Eagles. Do you guys think that they tanked, first and foremost? Do you think they tanked?
I think tanking is like a strong word. I mean, I know they ended up with the 6th pick, and that kind of puts them right in the sweet spot for one of the top receivers in the draft. Or, let's say if Micah Parsons, one of the top linebacker in the draft, falls. I'm sure that was part of the, intrigue for them to really not go all out. But I think like the season was just a disaster for them. And I just think they wanted to get it over with, and they didn't care who won. I'm sure in the back of their mind, they disliked the Giants a little bit more than they disliked the Redskins. If it was maybe the Giants against like the Texans or a team that they didn't care, it would, that they don't care about, I'm sure it would seem a lot more like they tanked. But to me, it was just like, it didn't matter to me. I thought it was completely overblown. It was, sour grapes by a Giants team that was pretty much terrible all year, to be honest with you. And I know you'll hear the whole like, oh, if you want to make the playoffs, win more than 6 games. And while it's true, it's like this division didn't even deserve a playoff team. So whoever won, I don't think anybody really cared about. To me, I would have, not given one of them a playoff spot, but the rules are the rules. I just thought it was completely overblown by people who just had nothing to talk about. And Doug Peterson had a terrible year. Wentz had a terrible year. Hurts was, a little bit of a spark at the end of the year when it really didn't matter much. But I think it was just totally overblown by a fan base like the Giants who've been complaining all year and, ended up just sound like a bunch of crybabies after the game. Look, I get it. They're heated rivals. And obviously I'm sure the Eagles got a good laugh about it. But to like cry about tanking and saying like this is such an outrage of the sport. Did you just start watching football this year? Like, teams do this all the time. It's week 17. The Eagles don't owe the Giants anything. They didn't owe them to play their starters. They didn't owe them to go out there and win a meaningless game. They just wanted the game over with, and they probably felt that Sudfeld deserved, a few snaps here and there. He's been on the team for a while. He didn't play all season. Who gives a shit? I don't think the Eagles cared. They didn't. I don't think they went into this game thinking, oh, we're going to, play a close game and screw the Giants at the end of the day. It just, whatever happened. It was a meaningless game, and a bad team was going to get into the playoffs regardless, and it just so happened that it was Washington.
Nick, what the hell happened to you, man? You used to be a man of integrity, of dignity. You're a football guy, and you're okay with the team intentionally trying to lose. I don't remember the last time something like that's happened where a team so blatantly benched their starting quarterback that, by the way, is supposed to be their future at the position, and just blatantly benches Jalen Hurts to put in Nate Sudfeld when it's so obvious you're doing it on purpose, and it's obvious that you're doing it to get a higher draft pick, which I understand, but with that being said, you lost your locker room. You may have lost your quarterback. You plant a seed like that to someone like Jalen Hurts. Look at what's going on with Deshaun Watson. You plant a few little seeds like that in your quarterback. Wait till things start going bad and then see what happens. You don't want to plant a seed like this. It was the worst move of the year by any coach, I think. It was honestly, to a bit, it was a little bit disgraceful, especially after what J.J. Watt said. Not to say like the most cliche thing like everyone else is saying about this, but come on, you can't do that. You can't have your team go out there and want to win a game, and they all wanted to win. Miles Sanders said they wanted to win. I mean, people wanted to win, and the Eagles did, and you can't go out there and just blow a game like that and then have a division rival like the Giants not make the playoffs because of that. I mean, this is not a good look. It's not a good look at all. It's bad for the league, I think, and I think I'm actually shocked that you, out of all people, are.
How are you shocked? I'm the same guy who's been rooting for the Jets to go 0-16 to get Trevor Lawrence all year. Whatever is best for your franchise in the future. I'm not saying like the Eagles going from like 11-6 is gonna, or wherever they were set to pick if they would have won the game, is a huge deal. It could be. I mean, it could be the difference between getting like a Devonta Smith or a Jamar Chase, or having to pick, like the third or fourth best receiver. It could be a huge deal. Maybe in 5 years we're like, wow, thank God the Eagles lost that game. But did you not watch the Jacksonville Jaguars purposely start Mike Glennon in multiple games this season when they had a guy in Gardner Minshew who was definitely the better option for them to win games? It happens. Like, we can't be so naive to think like teams don't intentionally lose when it's a benefit to them. It happens every year. It happens every week. It's just so happens it happened on Sunday Night Football. Everybody was watching, and it kept a crybaby fan base out of the playoffs. That's at the end of the day what happened.
And that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing. It was Sunday Night Football. Everybody was watching. If it was a regular 1 o'clock game when there was 4 other better games going on, nobody would really say anything.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a big deal, though. There's a reason why people are talking about it. There's a reason why Miles Sanders went public about these statements that he couldn't believe that they did that. There's a reason that Doug Peterson and the Eagles fan base, they want Doug Peterson gone. I mean,
they wanted him gone before that.
They did, but this was the icing on the cake. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not a
fan base. I said this like on previous shows, Frank. Remember, like the Eagles are a bad franchise who had a few good years. They won a Super Bowl, and they think that they're entitled to something now, being like this top fan base. And ultimately, at the end of the day, they're a bad franchise, and they run their franchise poorly. So, like, now they're just kind of coming off of that high and realizing, wow, we do suck, and we're that same Eagles franchise that has been dog shit for the past 20 years. And now all of a sudden, they just don't know where to stand on this. But I think if you ask an Eagle fan now, I'm sure they don't care. They'd rather pick sixth. Again, it puts them in position for, one of the top receivers if they win the game and let the Giants in, who knows where they would have picked. I just think it was overblown because it was on Sunday Night Football.
I'll ask you this question, then, and I'll ask you too, Brian. I want both your opinions on this. If you could go back, if you're Doug Peterson, let's say you're the coach of the Eagles, would you go back and do the same thing?
Yep.
Would you have benched? You would have. So you would have benched Jalen Hurts for Nate Sudfeld and intentionally blew that game, knowing the blowback that's caused.
Because it passes in a week, and then you draft who you drafted 6.
I don't think so.
Disagree.
I think I'm with Frankie on this one. I think just because of the ramifications in the locker room they seem to be insane. I mean, there were reports that some guys wanted to confront Peterson to the point where they had to be held back.
Mm-hmm.
I think losing the locker room is not worth a 2 or 3 spot higher draft pick.
I think we'll all be over it.
If he wants to keep his job, I think he should have just kept
He should win some more games next year to keep his job.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that too. But speaking of a team that won some more games but still is out of the playoffs, the Miami Dolphins.
Wow, the queen of segues.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
that was
AKA the Patriots of South Beach. They're out of the playoffs. Are you concerned? Is it a Tua thing? Is it just a Dolphins culture thing? Are you concerned about Tua? Where do we stand on this?
Take it, Brody.
I would be, and not that. It's tough because I don't want to throw him away just yet. Obviously, it was, he started 10, 11 games, right? Like, so I would be concerned just because of the injury and because you saw the lack of ability, whether that was schematically, whether that was the coaching staff, and they just didn't want to expose him there yet. But they didn't push the ball down the field enough. And in today's NFL, you have to, if you want to win these games against good teams, you have to be able to push the ball down the field and make those plays. Like you could say maybe the offense wasn't, catering to that. The talent they had at receiver was, he had better receivers in college than he did in the NFL, right? So he had 4 first-round picks, at his disposal in college. And now this year he had an in-and-out Devontae Parker, a few average players. So it worries me a little bit because of the injury history, because of the inability to push the ball down the field. If I were the Dolphins, I would take a quarterback 3rd overall just because I believe in this Zach Wilson, Justin Fields talent at quarterback in this draft. It's better than a Tua grading out. That's my specific opinion. But I would, especially having multiple picks, but I wouldn't just get rid of Tua, but I would definitely be concerned. Absolutely.
I'm not concerned at all.
How can't we be?
I'm not concerned at all. I don't think Tua's a bust. I know Nicholas, my man Nicky B over there, the best Nick on the uSTADIUM app.
I agree with
that. Whoa, fighting words.
I know. See what happens?
I wouldn't be concerned at all. You drafted this guy 5th overall. You gave him the opportunity to win games. He won you games this year. The Dolphins should be in the playoffs based on their win-loss record. He proved that he's a gamer. He's a baller. Yeah, he's not the most prototypical quarterback. He's not a 6'5" guy that's going to drop back and read zone defenses at an above average rate and make all the right passes. But he's a baller. He's a gamer. If he can stay healthy, I think Tua is really good. I think he can win football games in this league. He proved he can win in college, which doesn't really mean anything, obviously, all the time. But he has that winner's edge to him that I like. And I did like a lot when he was benched for Fitzpatrick and he's there cheering on the sidelines and motivating the guys on the bench to win. That's a big sign for me. He's not this privileged quarterback, it doesn't seem. He's more about the team than he is about himself, which was my biggest concern with Tua coming out of college and some of his pre-draft some of the pre-draft rhetoric around Tua was he a me guy? And he proved this year that he wasn't. He was completely fine with the benching. He supported Flores the entire year. The Dolphins should have been in the playoffs. And it was his first season, and he shouldn't even have played this year, I feel. I mean, Nick, do you agree with that? I mean, he shouldn't have played this year.
In a perfect world that he would have sat, the majority of the season, especially coming off that really pretty bad hip injury. But if he was such a winner and a gamer, he should have probably won a win and in playoff game. They had the control their own destiny in their own hands, and they knew that the Bills were going to play Matt Barkley at some point. They knew that Allen was going to start. They didn't know how long he was going to play, but they pretty much got handed. He turned the ball over 3 times. I know the pick 6 wasn't necessarily his fault. The receiver fell, but they turned the ball over 3 times, which kind of turned out to be an issue at the end of the season. But they lost pretty badly to the Bills' backups in the second half. They were outscored, by a lot. So, I mean, if he was such a winner, don't you go and beat the Bills' backups to make a playoff run? I don't know if we can call. Yeah, he was a winner at Alabama, but so was Greg McElroy, and so is Mac Jones right now. So I don't really buy into any of that winner or it factor at the college level, because if you're playing quarterback for Nick Saban, you're going to win a lot of football games.
I will say one thing: the Bills are a really freaking good team, and there's an argument to be made that they're the best team right now in the NFL in terms of how they're playing. Chiefs aside, let's not put the Chiefs. I mean,
they're playing better than the Chiefs right now.
They honestly, overall, they are. They're connecting on all cylinders. Everyone's playing at a championship level. So, let's get this comment up here, huh?
The idea that Tua didn't have weapons is a bit bold, but they also had Chan Gailey, who isn't the greatest. Yeah, I mean, who did resign, but I mean, Chan Gailey and Fitz go way back, and Chan Gailey with the Jets and Fitzpatrick in 2015 broke club records through 31 touchdowns. So Gailey's been around forever. If you want to say he's old or he's maybe washed up and thinks a little bit more in the Stone Age, that I'll agree with. I don't think he's a bad coordinator. I don't think he's necessarily good, but maybe he doesn't match up with Tua's strengths. He fits more of what Fitzpatrick does. But again, the plan was to play Fitzpatrick this whole year. It just so happens they went to Tua when they did. But Aiden says
he's right. Aiden's right.
Yeah.
Aiden's 100% right. I don't think they were playing with practice squad guys at points during the year. I mean, Gesicki was injured for a few games. Gaskin and Ahmed, they're putting them back and forth based on who's healthy. I think Tua did what he had to do. Now, is there a situation where in 2 or 3 years Tua's not starting? Yeah, I could see that. I don't think this guy is necessarily self-proclaimed savior at the position, but I don't think it's like time. You think they should draft Wilson?
I would draft a quarterback just because I think they're better. I don't think you can say you're sold on Tua, and until you can say you're sold on a guy, you're still looking for the guy.
How are you gonna? You're gonna draft Zach Wilson or Fields, and what? You're gonna have them compete with Tua, and then have one of them sit?
Yeah, I would trade the other one.
I think you're tripping, bro.
I don't know. I think him getting benched a few times is a little questionable, but I don't think he's a bust.
No,
but I also think it's a little too early to tell. I think we'll see what his sophomore season holds.
You see that Flores doesn't, love him, so he's able to bench him a few times. So
Flores also comes from a Bill Belichick background, who doesn't
like
really give a crap about benching people he probably shouldn't bench. Malcolm Butler, but we won't talk about that. That's fine. Keeping it in the AFC East and up to the Patriots. What do you guys? I mean, I know where I stand on this, being, as I said, the resident Boston sports fan here. Brady and Belichick. We've heard this argument from every which direction. Was it one or the other? Who's more responsible for the 2 decades of success? Did Brady make Belichick, or did Belichick make Brady? Or where I stand, was it both? Frankie, what do you think?
I think everyone knows what I think. This is the most obvious thing I've ever seen in my life, and this year is all you need to know. Tom Brady is 43 years old. People retire. I know dads who are retired at 43. No, that's not actually true. But what I'm saying is,
sounded good.
Yeah, it worked.
He's 43 years old. He had 40 passing touchdowns. He had 4,633 yards. I mean, what do you need to see from a guy to know that when he's not with Belichick, that he's not only producing on the field, he had 43 total touchdowns. So that is amazing. That was I think 3rd in the league. And you have a guy that when he gets into the locker room, everyone's on notice. You will not be playing moderate style football with Tom Brady there. He gets in there. We're going to play elite style ball. You better be here early. You better be here often. You better get ready to kick some ass and win some football games, because that's what Tom Brady demands. When that left New England, you get a 7-9 season. You get no playoffs. You get a team that looks like any other team. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say Belichick's not a good coach. He's a great coach. He's top 5 all time. But is he the self-proclaimed GOAT? Hell no. He can't.
5? That's
He's
it?
top 5 all time. Yeah, he's like 4th or 3rd.
Oh, my God.
He's not the self-proclaimed GOAT. He can't be. Look what he did in Cleveland. He made the playoffs one time in Cleveland and lost a playoff game. He didn't make it. I know in 2008 they were 11-5 with Castle, which was pretty good, but you didn't make the playoffs again. And I don't understand how this conversation is. Why do people get so butthurt about Belichick not being the self-proclaimed GOAT? He's not. Look at this season. I'm telling you, next season the Pats are going to suck. Sorry, Brianna, they're not going to be good. They're going to be 6-10, 7-9, maybe 8-8 if they're lucky. And and Belichick's going to leave after next year. He's done.
Oh my God.
All right, I'm going to take that from there.
Wait, can I jump in? Can I jump in real quick? Real quick, and then you can have the floor. Any other coach with the team that the Patriots had this year with Cam Newton, who looked, and I like Cam Newton. Cam Newton that looked like the Rusty Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz. That's his mechanic. Any other coach, they would have ended up with a record like the Jets. The fact that sorry, I know, but
deserved.
The fact that they had a semblance of a winning team with who they had at quarterback, who they didn't have because of opt-outs. You take Dante Hightower out of that defense, and that's like a giant hole that nobody can replace. And pretty much the same offense that Brady had last year. Absolutely no weapons. N'Keal Harry is an absolute bust. Julian Edelman didn't play half of the season. I don't know why James White didn't get utilized as much as he didn't this year, but I mean,
it's funny because usually I have the strong opinion. I'm going to actually split the room here. I agree with the both of you. What I will say is I think who or what this exposed more was Josh McDaniels. I think he is exposed a lot more than Belichick this year because of what you said. Belichick had to deal with all the opt-outs, had to deal with Brady leaving, and then the GM, Frank, to your credit, like you said, the GM Belichick was exposed this year. The roster was barren. It was empty. There was nobody on the offensive side of the ball. I agree. I don't know what the deal was with James White, why he wasn't utilized more. But again, I will go back with Josh McDaniels on that because he kind of runs all of the personnel packages on the offensive side of the ball. So I think he was exposed, and that's a reason why he's not getting any head coaching opportunities this offseason too. But look, if you lose an MVP all-time great in Tom Brady in an offseason like this, and Brady goes to an offense that was preloaded, I'm not saying he wouldn't have been good with a lesser cast because we've seen it year after year. But he went to a team with probably the best offensive skill positions in football and a head coach who's pretty good. I don't think Arians is anything special, but I don't think he's bad at all. So Brady left a New England team with a bad roster to go to a Tampa team with a great roster and a good coach. And then he left Belichick with Cam Newton, who was absolutely awful, probably the worst starting quarterback in the league besides Sam Darnold this year. Nobody at running back. They were injured there. The receiving core was probably even worse than the Jets, and the defense had nobody. And they even, they strung a few good games together at the end. So I don't think you can say one, make a decision about if it's Brady or Belichick in 1 year. I don't think you can ever make that decision because what the Patriots did will never be replicated. It was unbelievable. We'll never see it again in any sport. So I don't think you can. I definitely know you can't make a decision off of one season, especially in a COVID season like this. I will agree with you, Frank. I don't think Belichick will, ride along on a bad Patriot team, unless they kind of do a big, turnaround in this offseason personnel wise and bring in, if they trade for Stafford or they go and get a seasoned quarterback who can come in and play. I don't think he's going to, ride out and have 4 bad years in a row in New England. I think if they don't kind of get on a winning path again and have a better roster after next season, he will leave. And you'll see, I guess, maybe McDaniels take over. But I just don't think you can it's like selling the amazing run that the Patriots went on short, saying it was one guy or the other after one season. Yes, Brady looks better right now because, he's the player making plays on a really good roster, and Belichick is coaching, yes, a roster he put together. But yeah, if you want to say the GM Belichick, yeah, I think he was exposed for sure.
Yeah, the one thing I'll say is this. People talk about Bill Belichick and refer to him as a defensive genius. He's a defensive genius. Where is this defensive genius? Do you ever see a blitzer or a corner coming out of, off the edge and sacking someone? I mean, where's this defensive genius?
Yeah, I just think I don't understand what's so limited this year. You can't do a lot of things you want to do. You can't be dialing up all these exotic blitzes if you can't trust your corners to play. Gilmore was in and out of the lineup all season. You can't be doing all these special things with non-special talent. So yeah. I agree. The defense, just go a year previous, the defense was great.
I will say this. I'll say this. I think his old school style and the way he keeps everyone accountable, I think worked really well when you had a system where it's Tom Brady, it's Josh McDaniels working out all the kinks on offense, going through all the all the different reads and all the different blitzes that they're going to see, and they're going through the game plan on offense. Belichick doesn't have to deal with that. The defensive genius part, throw it up in the air. Let's say he's very good or whatever. But when you have that and then you keep everyone accountable, that's how you win games. I agree he's a great coach, but I really think, and we're going to get into this, I think, soon, I think Brady's going to win a Super Bowl this year. And I think when that happens, it's all hell's going loose. And Superior Alex, who dodged the show today, I know you said you're working. Who the hell works 4:30 on a Thursday? I mean, come on, man.
Everybody?
Everybody except
maybe not in a pandemic.
Yeah. But
I don't know. All right, switching to a really bad team, not a debatable bad team, a really bad team. Your New York Jets. Emphasis on really bad.
Wow, she is like coming in hot with the digs. I actually kind of respect it.
I'm a little upset that we heard that Belichick is a maybe number 4.
I think he's the best coach of all time, but
I think so too. But to the Jets, what are they doing with that number 2 pick? Are they taking a quarterback? Are they keeping Sam? What's going on?
Frank, I'm giving this to you because you went and you frustrated a lot of Jet fans on our account a couple of days ago. So please.
Oh man, I just came in hot. I have to do it again. Let's go. Let's get it. All right. I think the Jets, and I'll break it down very simply. I don't think we should at this point look at the fact that we lost out on Trevor Lawrence and we're all sad about it and we all want to cry over it. And the savior at quarterback's not here. And, he left us, man. Let's just settle for the next best option. That's not what you do. You don't settle out of desperation. Trust me, I've been there many times in my personal life. It never works. All right? You don't settle out of desperation. You find the next best thing. You go and maybe it's not settling for a quarterback. It is getting the best player, arguably, in this draft. And Penei Sewell is the best player in this draft. He is. He's number 1 on my big board. If I don't really have a big board, but if I did, I would.
If you did, that's what you would do.
Wait, over Lawrence, or are we taking Lawrence out of the conversation?
No, I think he's better at tackle than Lawrence is at quarterback, based on the last couple games from Lawrence in this season. I mean, I think Penei Sewell is so amazing, and you just want to build at this point. You're the Jets. You're not you're not the Packers. You're not even the Panthers. You're not an organization that has something that you can build from. You're literally starting from scratch in many ways. You need to build and then worry about finding your quarterback. If you rush and bring in Zach Wilson and bring in Justin Fields and they're throwing to Brashad Perriman and Chris Herndon and their running back is Perrin, what do you think's going to happen? He's not going to play well. They're not going to play well, and they're going to have confidence issues, and they may not last. So I think when you look at a guy like, and everyone say, well, look at what Justin Herbert did with the Chargers. There's a reason the Chargers were picking 6th and not 2nd. There's a reason that they had Keenan Allen, and they have Mike Williams, and they have Hunter Henry, and they had Melvin Gordon. I mean, they had Joey Bosa on defense, so Derwin James. You have pieces, so you can bring in Justin Herbert, and he'll look better than if Herbert went to the Jets, let's say, last year. You got to give a guy confidence. We don't have anything. We don't have anything. We're like when the Lions drafted Joey Harrington. Remember that? 2nd. Remember when the Redskins drafted RG3? Remember when the Eagles drafted Carson Wentz? Remember when who else went 2nd? Ryan Leaf went 2nd to the Chargers. Remember those guys? They were bust. They were not ready to take on the load of being on a crappy team. We sucked this year. We were going to go 0-16. I mean, we were terrible. So you want to bring in a kid like Zach Wilson and have him get his shit rocked on a weekly basis and lose all confidence, and then you lose out on Penei Sewell? And last point, Penei Sewell will be teamed up with Mekhi Becton. You'll have the best tackle duo, maybe in NFL history. And Becton's shown this year that he gets hurt. So what if Becton misses a season or 2? What if he misses 6 games? You can bring Penei from right to left tackle. And last point, I would sit down with Penei Sewell and I would say, hey, man, I'm Francesco Vittorini. I'm the GM of the New York Jets. I want to ask you a simple question. Would you be okay with playing right tackle? We want to draft you 2nd overall. If he says, hey, man, I would love to be a part of your organization. I'll be the best right tackle your team's ever had. I'm drafting him in a 2nd. If he brings his diva complex like, oh, I don't know. I mean, I'm a left tackle. I mean, draft me. I wouldn't mind, but, I'm a left. I wouldn't draft him. I'd probably go with someone like Fields. So to me, it would be a pre-draft thing. Will Penei Sewell, be okay with being the right tackle and playing right to Becton's left? Because Mekhi Becton's amazing. So I get people saying, oh, why the hell would you get Penei Sewell when he's a left tackle when you have maybe the best young left tackle in the game right now. So I would have that conversation before I just jump the gun and draft this kid second. But I just think you have to build. You can't throw Justin Fields and Zach Wilson in this crap.
All right. Look, let me preface this by saying I think Sewell is the second best player in the draft behind Lawrence. So I will agree with you on the fact that I think Penei Sewell has the chance to be this franchise left tackle. I think he's even better than Becton. I had him graded on my big board better than Becton was last year. But the fact is, with the Jets, now you are starting from a place where if they would have done this with Sam Darnold 3 years ago, we wouldn't be in this situation. You're starting fresh. You have this GM in Joe Douglas who has a 6-year contract, who's going to be here for years. You just traded Jamal Adams to 2 first-round picks, 3rd-round pick. They have an extra fifth from the Giants. So when you look at the roster of the Jets right now, it's not going to be the same roster you see, a week ago on week 17 of 2020. You're going to have over $90 million in cap space. You can get a top receiver or an offensive tackle, a right tackle, which is a lot cheaper than paying a left tackle in free agency. You can upgrade and sign a guard, so you have more talent on that offensive line. Darnold was brought in with a terrible roster. They traded a bunch of picks to get Darnold, so the draft pick cupboard was bare. And you were bringing him into a guy in Todd Bowles who was hanging on by a thread and was about to be fired the next season. Not only did they go and fire him, the GM that drafted Darnold was kept for another year. Brought in Gase, fired that GM. Gase now is fired too. So you're starting with Joe Douglas, a new coach, and you let that coach come in and you say, hey, are we keeping Sam Darnold? And if we are, tell me why and what you're going to do to fix this guy. Because if you keep him, it's a total gut job and you're stripping everything he's done. And again, this is going to be a 4th offensive coordinator in 4 seasons. And or you start fresh with a new coach and a new quarterback. They're on the same timeline. So you have Justin Fields or Zach Wilson. I personally have Zach Wilson rated higher. I think Fields is more of like a mid-first, early second-round prospect, but I do like him. I think he is very system-oriented, so I think he's got to go somewhere where the talent is good, the coaching staff is good. But you can't pass up, not to mention the 2022 quarterback class looks pretty weak now, but we always have, risers like a Zach Wilson was, so I'm not going to use that as a reason why I would draft a quarterback. You have a pick 2, you can draft a Zach Wilson or a Fields. You're picking 27, you upgrade the offensive line so you can get your tackle there. Then you're picking again 33, you get a receiver for him and you sign a receiver. So the supporting cast is not going to look like what it just looked like a week ago. You're talking about possibly 2 new receivers, a new starting running back, two new offensive linemen, and then you can start upgrading your defense as the draft goes on in free agency. So you can't pass on a quarterback right now when the timing is just lines up. It's perfectly for them to get the new coach, get the new quarterback. They come in together. Joe Douglas is here. He's drafting. He's supposed to be this, great drafting GM and talent evaluator. So the timeline just works right now for them to get one of these top 2 quarterbacks. If for whatever reason they decide to go with Darnold and keep him, which I totally wouldn't do. Plus, you could also trade Darnold and get another 2nd-round pick, and you can draft a receiver or running back with that, whatever you want to do. Then, Sewell. It's not about Sewell, the player. I think Sewell, the player, is great.
Well, that's the thing I was about to say, literally. I think in some ways it is about Sewell, the player. And to answer Aiden's question in the comments, I think Penei Sewell is a better player at left tackle than Trevor Lawrence is at quarterback. I mean, did you see the last game? Did Trevor
statement? I don't know why.
Did Trevor Lawrence look to you to be like this game-changing electric guy? And consider that I know Trevor Lawrence is amazing. I'm not like ignoring that. I'm just saying, does he look like last couple games? Does he seem like he's like this unbelievable savior at the position? I didn't see it last couple games. And consider he played at Clemson, and ETN is an amazing player, and he's a perfect running back in many ways for a quarterback because he's like an Alvin Kamara style back. He's really good. Take the receivers he had last year at Clemson and the receivers he has every year, Trevor Lawrence with T. Higgins and co. I mean, you have the best roster in football. How do you know he's going to come in and be that good? As good as advertised. Now, take Penei Sewell. He's incredible. I mean, I think he's the best prospect I've seen at the position in a long, long time. I don't know. He does everything. He's an amazing run blocker. He run blocks. He's 6'6", 330 pounds. When he run blocks, he looks like he's 6'1" with the leverage he gets, the way he moves his legs. And not to mention, he gave up 1 sack in 1,300 plus snaps. And he's 6'6", 330 pounds. He moves like a guard, a run blocking guard who's amazing, but he's 6'6", 330, and he doesn't give up sacks. Now, why would you want to not put that on your team and force the hand with a quarterback when my whole thing is this? How do we differentiate? How do we become a different team that we can build something that other teams don't have? You get Zach Wilson or Fields, you become like the Texans, you become like the Chargers, you become like the Lions with Stafford. Yeah, you have a really good quarterback. Nothing can support him. You have no differentiation across the board. You have an offensive line that's a B- maybe at best. Get an A+ offensive line or an A. Get free agents. When the quarterback's here and you're ready for it, do it. I was saying, don't microwave things. You know, everyone wants to like fast forward. Don't microwave. Play it out. You almost went 0-16. Why rush it? You're not going to change in a year or two. Don't microwave. You know, like.
Yeah, I mean, I think a final discussion is like, it's about asset allocation too, right? Like right now, the Jets have the worst quarterback depth chart in football, and they just drafted Mekhi Becton to play left tackle, and he looks the part. If Becton didn't look the part, I would understand, well, maybe this Penei Sewell is, maybe Becton's not the left tackle of the future. You're not going to draft a right tackle right now when the roster is what it is. It's the whole reason why I was so frustrated with the Quinnen Williams decision was because the roster is so bad. The easy decision is to trade back there or take the edge rusher instead of the interior defensive lineman. Now, Quinnen Williams looks a lot better, but at the time, they had Mo Wilkerson and Leonard Williams. They've been drafting interior defensive line for like what seems like the past 10 years, and it's easier to find interior defensive linemen in the 4th or 5th round. I mean, they have a guy in Foley Fatukasi who's awesome, and they drafted him like the 6th round out of UConn. So you're talking about a potential franchise quarterback. There is no discussion. It's the most important position in football. It's the most important position in sports. If you're sold on Zach Wilson or Justin Fields, I don't care if Jesus Christ himself is coming to play right tackle. You take the quarterback.
Wow, you did not just drop.
So
I did.
Yeah, he did.
I'm checking to see who's behind me or not.
So what I've gathered from this conversation, Nick, you are out on Sam Darnold. Frankie, you're in. You build around him. That's the consensus here.
I mean, I'm out on Sam Darnold, but the thing I want to do that no one agrees with me is I would take Penei and I would trade Sam Darnold and probably play Flacco with some brand. Yeah, why not? Bring in Marcus Mariota. Bring in somebody. Let's have fun for a year. No pressure. Let's chill. Let's get these tackles do their thing. We'll give us a few years. We need a gap year. It's like my teeth, a gap year. It's like no, you need a year where you don't have to find a job right away. You wait till college, you're done, and then you spend a year and you chill and you smoke some weed for a little bit and drink a lot of wine and make some hash brownies, and then we'll worry about it in a few years.
Listen, Joe Flacco as a starter again is a conversation for a different day. We won't get into that right now.
Never again.
But our last debate topic before we get into these rapid fire questions. Let's make this quick because we are running out of time, guys.
We always do this.
Talking so much. What team is your Super Bowl dark horse in these playoffs?
Oh, man. This is like a cop-out, but I feel like the winner of the Ravens-Titans game is going to be the team in the AFC. I think Buffalo better not smell themselves against the Colts because that's a tough matchup for them. I don't buy Phillip Rivers. Otherwise, I would pick an upset of the Colts over the Bills. I think the fact that the pressure is off of Lamar Jackson because of the expectations, and I'm not a big Lamar Jackson guy, and I shit on him for his playoff performances, but it just seems like he's quietly under the radar right now. Even though he won the MVP last year, it just seems like no one's really talking about him, and he's played it really solidly over the past 5 weeks, and so is Tannehill and Derrick Henry. So I don't think the Ravens wanted the Titans this early because that matchup is a little funny. But I think the winner of this Titans-Ravens game, I know it's, again, like I said, a cop-out because I'm basically skipping around here. But I think the winner of this game is going to represent the AFC.
Okay. I think I agree with that too, actually.
Yeah, I know that they're both kind of built to win here. I know the Titans defense hasn't been great, but they are, they have that experience last year. Vrabel, I think, is a great coach. He's experienced, but I don't know. I love Harbaugh. I love the two head coaches, and I love the style they play in the playoffs.
And there's that little bit of heat from earlier in the season. I wonder if Harbaugh's gonna cry again over something.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems like he always is. Harbaugh's do, but they're great.
Frankie, what about you?
All right. So when I was looking into this, Big T down there, I agreed with. I wanted to agree with him for a second. I was going to say, maybe the Colts are that dark horse team. I like what the Colts are doing on the ground. So I wanted to say the Colts, but then I keep thinking about Phillip Rivers over and over again, and I can't get that guy out of my head. So I just can't. I have no confidence in him to do something with 2 minutes left in a big game. So are the Bucs a dark horse? I mean, they're the 5th seed, right? I mean, they're playing in the wild card weekend. I think the Bucs,
technically, yeah.
I mean, I don't even think that the Bucs they're not a dark horse. I think they're my favorites right now. It's Bucs Chiefs. Brady's going to bring Mahomes to school, show him the deal, bring him out back and show him how the big boys play.
I can get on board with that. Any Pat Mahomes slander is fine with me. I'm all.
But yeah, I think I was saying it before, and I'm in with the Bucs. I'm on the Bucs bandwagon here. So I think and by the way, I was kind of sucking Brady off before. Listen, when you're throwing to Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin, and Gronk, who's now finally in shape. I mean, Ronald Jones, and you have an offensive line that's focused because Brady's there. You can't have a better support system than that. I'm not oblivious to the fact that he's throwing to 3 legitimate number 1 wide receivers and a really underrated running back. So I'll admit that. All right. I'm not that biased. Frank. I'm pretty biased, but I'm not that bad. I'm not that stubborn. But
obviously I agree. I'm full in on I'm on the Bucs bandwagon now. The Pats are done. I can focus all my energy on Tom Brady instead of.
Is that a thing? Is that a thing, Brianna? Like, are the Pats are the Pat fans like on Brady now that you guys are out, or is it kind of like we're jealous?
So there's a contingent that are like they hate him and they like wished he was never born at this point. Wow. Like people are angry.
Really?
Yeah. You can't even. There was one time I was watching a Monday Night Football game. The Bucs were playing. I think they were playing the Giants, and I tweeted about Tom Brady. I just tweeted out his name, and some guy replies to me. He goes, "You're a fake Patriots fan if you're rooting for Tom Brady to be successful." I'm like, "What? What the hell kind of idea is that?" He's been my life for the last 20-something years.
Dog is probably named after
my car.
Yeah, you can't leave him like that.
But it was a Monday Night Football game. What else was on? What else was I supposed to watch?
Yeah.
But there are a large portion of Pats fans, still said like, I'm a Pats fan first and a Tom Brady fan second, which that's how I feel. I won't go out of my way to watch a Bucs game if the Pats are on, but if they're not, for sure I'm going to watch them.
Yeah, I mean, it's Tom Brady. He's won 100 Super Bowl. It's not like a fluky Super Bowl run like Trent Dilfer that you're like following him for the rest of your life. The guy is literally the best to ever do it. I mean, you got to grow up a little bit.
Yes, it's just,
and he's bent over backwards for the Pats too in terms of taking all these different discounts. I mean, he's making money. I'm not like poor Tom Brady taking this like $10 million pay cut. I'm sure he's getting paid under the table a little bit, but come on, give me a break.
Yeah, no, it's this season for sure. And I know we're not talking about the Pats right now, but this season for sure kind of highlighted how much of babies Pats fans can be given losing Tom Brady. And I'm not saying that I'm completely absolved of this. I'm sure I had my hissy fit moments. I won't admit to it, but I'm sure I did. It's just I don't understand how you can not want the guy who brought you 6 Super Bowls in this unprecedented run, first ballot Hall of Famer, no question. How don't you want him to be successful? I don't understand.
You guys deserve 100 years of Jets misery, so you won't be getting any pity from me over here.
Whatever.
0%.
Yep.
Rapid fire questions. You guys ready? You guys don't know what any of these are. I do. So
love these.
Oh, Nick knows. You talk to Nick after the show all the time.
You feed me all the posts. I know it.
I'm always at a disadvantage here.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Sorry. All right, so these are from uSTADIUM app users. So we'll see if I get any usernames right. There's a couple that I'm not sure about. But okay, first question. Back to the playoffs this weekend. This comes from Nelson Rodriguez. Which quarterback puts up the best performance in the wild card round?
That's a good question. I'm going to say Ryan Tannehill.
Okay.
Yeah.
You actually gave Ryan Tannehill credit for once in your life?
Yeah.
That's a first.
I threw a little wrench in there.
Like 10 years in the making. I can't believe that. Tom Brady. Can I just say that?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. So.
Yeah. I should have stolen thunder.
Yeah. No, I think as much as I like Chase Young, I think he's going to get schooled in the you don't ask for Tom Brady department.
Yeah.
So like I like his confidence. I like him as a player, but
you started the You Don't Ask Tom Brady fan club. I heard.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah. You don't ask for Tom Brady. You don't say we want Boston because it just doesn't work out.
Boston. Now they're done.
Well, yeah. Now
anyway,
now it's a different story, but a couple years ago you don't do that. All right. Second question from Julian Aparicio. I think that's right.
It's a nice name.
Yeah, it is nice, right? Top landing spot for Deshaun Watson. It sounds like he wants out of Houston.
Oh, man. I don't think he's going anywhere, but if it was, how's it not the Niners, like with Kyle Shanahan? That would be like a perfect situation. But you don't trade Deshaun Watson. You just don't.
No.
Make it right. Do whatever you got to do. Ownership is on board with doing whatever they can to, help Watson along and just make it right by him.
I have the perfect place for Deshaun Watson. The Pittsburgh Steelers. I think if they can do something and they could work some magic, and then Ravens fans will be in their tears for years, I would do what I can. Deshaun Watson in Pittsburgh running option reads in that cold weather, throwing it to my man Juju, the Goud, and Claypool and co. Oh, my God. You guys would be Ravens fans. I'm just looking at our producer right now, and he's just shaking his head right there. Right, you have no idea what would happen if Deshaun comes to town.
I think you have to keep him in Houston. I think if Nick Caserio comes in and his first move is to trade Deshaun Watson, he's going to get ran out of town quicker than quick. He might get fired the next second. Like he just signed a 6-year deal to be the Texans GM.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
If that's going to be your first move for the next 6 years, that's all you're going to be known for. Whatever, if you do anything good after that, nobody's going to care. Yep. Nobody's going to give a shit if you trade away the franchise quarterback.
You think there's a realistic chance that could happen? I mean, is there? I didn't get too many reports today, to be honest. Do you think? I mean, that's realistic.
No, I don't think so.
I don't really think so, but at the same time, Jack Easterby is an absolute lunatic, and the fact that he's in the position that he is from being the Pats character coach, and he somehow kissed whoever's ass he needed to get in the position that he's in and running the show. Like, I wouldn't be surprised because he's just an absolute crock of what.
It's true. I guess if any franchise could do it, it would be them.
Oh, we have a question right here. Brady.
Oh boy, question for me. You have 4 sandwiches for the rest of your life. What would you do?
I feel like this question's asked by Time to BS podcast all the time.
That's a solid question.
Yeah, it's a great question. It's the best question.
Butter and jelly, obviously.
I said that.
A good PB&J.
Awesome.
A chicken parm sandwich. That's my thing. I go to every deli and try chicken parm sandwiches. I'm like the Dave Portnoy of chicken parm sandwiches. I like a good bacon, egg, and cheese when I'm hungover, so I'll say that because I'm sure I'll be.
This is pretty good on the spot.
Drunk at some point.
This is good.
And does this technically count as a sandwich? A buffalo chicken
hot
wrap?
dog. Okay, good.
No, not a hot dog. A buffalo chicken wrap.
Be a problem. I don't know.
Does that
I guess a wrap a sandwich. I mean, can you make a buffalo chicken sandwich? I mean that.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, you could. Yeah. I feel like the wrap
would be kind of weird. Yeah. That's a pretty good list. I don't know.
I'm also really hungry, so I've been thinking about food. So that was kind of on the brain, so that's why it was so easy.
I like that you said the peanut butter and jelly. I will say that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, that's the classic. You can't, if you skip a peanut butter and jelly, like, lock you up. That's weird. It's just odd. But, okay.
Rapid.
We're back. All right.
So rapid.
Will Urban Meyer coach in the NFL? This is from our friend. I don't know how to say his username. We called him Big T earlier. This is from our friend Big T.
Yes.
Big T.
The answer is yes. Urban Meyer will be coaching in the NFL in the next year or two. So you can take that to the bank. I got some sources, so just letting you guys know my sources are quite spot on. I give Nick a lot of my sources.
Yes,
and
a lot of the info comes
at all. Yeah. But no, he will be coaching in the NFL. He wants to get back in, they're saying, and he's looking to dip his toes in the NFL. And it's a money offer too. I mean, a lot of times these are big deals, and you're not going to just not turn down an offer. There was some health issues with him at a point, but yeah, he'll be coaching. You can book it in the next 2 years. Yeah,
I think he ends up with the Jaguars next week. I think you hear it for sure.
So then, if he ends up with the Jaguars, do you think the Jaguars take Fields instead of
I think they take
Lawrence?
Yeah, I think they take Lawrence.
Okay. Yeah, I think so too.
I've seen some Jets fans.
I think it's just
that idea and
grasping at straws at this point. I've been victimized of that. So.
Imagine they take Penei Sewell and they trade for Joe Flacco.
Oh my God,
Flacco Sewell. That would make me so happy. I'd get both their jerseys. I'd wear them both at the same time. Yeah.
Cut them in half and sew them together.
Yeah, I love that.
And I would have a Justin Fields as the third one. And I would just
take it off.
Yeah.
All right, last one. When will the third quarterback go in the draft? And
that's a good one.
Who will it be?
That's a good one. I'm going to say it's going to go Lawrence 1.
Fields 2.
It's probably going to be Fields, especially if he plays well against Alabama. I think it'll be Fields just because of the hype around, and a GM is not going to want to go out on that limb to get a guy from BYU who's this fast 1-year riser over a guy in Fields who they've been talking about constantly for 2-3 years now, who's decorated from Ohio State. I just like Zach Wilson, and I'm praying the Jets get him at 2. So it's going to be either one of them, and don't sleep on Miami. I think if the Jets take Zach Wilson, I think Justin Fields is in conversation.
I disagree. I think it will go. I'll give you what's up. I'll give you my prediction. So Jacksonville gets Trevor Lawrence. The Jets will take Justin Fields. Miami's going to take Penei Sewell. So I don't know what's going to happen necessarily 4, 5, and 6, but Atlanta, Cincinnati, Philly are not going to take a quarterback. Detroit, depending on what happens with Matt Stafford, I could see Zach Wilson going to Detroit. He's got a similar play style, big arm, quarterback.
Aiden likes number 4, Wilson to the Falcons. I think that's pretty interesting, depending on who their coach is.
Yeah. I will say whoever gets that Jamar Chase kid is going to get a stud. And if he can fall in the laps of, if he can go to Philly, Jamar Chase.
Thank God they tanked, right?
Oh, I guess, yeah. But if they can get Jamar Chase there, they finally got their wide receiver that they've been passing up on for the last 5 years.
If they do get him, all that means is Devonta Smith is going to be much better than Chase because the Eagles just draft the wrong guy all the time at receiver.
I know. How do you pass up on Justin Jefferson?
It's unbelievable.
How are you scouting a guy and what are you looking for?
Listen, don't even get me started when it comes to drafting wide receivers and passing on others because
that's a good point.
I'll jump out a window. N'Keal Harry out of AJ Brown, DK Metcalf. Yeah. Who else is in that? Terry McLaurin. But N'Keal Harry, what has he done?
Yeah, the Belichick GM experience should end.
I don't know how the Pats are so bad at drafting wide receiver talent, but it's been years and years and years. You look at Aaron Dobson and you're like,
even back to Jackson days from Florida.
Don't worry. When you guys have Adam Gase as your offensive coordinator next year.
Oh God, please no, keep him.
I'm praying. I'm praying.
He'll fix all your problems. Did you see Rashad Perriman this year? He was amazing.
He was great.
Yeah.
Aiden asked the show for a Francisco Lindor reaction, and it was one of shock and disbelief, and definitely shock just because this is a trade the Mets never make. I'm the resident Met fan here, and as a Jet fan and Met fan, you're just used to just being disappointed. And for like the first time in a long time, I was like extremely surprised. I mean, this guy's one of the best players in baseball, and they really didn't give up anything. And to not only have him, Lindor, obviously, but to get Carlos Carrasco in a deal to be your number 2-3 starter, and he's only making like $12-13 million a year. It was just like a huge surprise at the time it came, and like, you got to be excited. I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have an opinion because, like, I mean, I'm a Red Sox fan, but I have a lot of Mets fans that are over the moon with this. So like, I'm happy for them. Happy for them after the years and years of suffering that you guys had to deal with. And it's pretty cool to see Cohen come in and just like do shit right away.
Yeah, so. I was getting a little worried because the market was playing slow, and it's like, okay, let's do something here. But I guess it was just really, again, like the market in baseball free agency is so much different than the NBA and the NFL, where it's like you have 1 or 2 days and it's over. But baseball, it's like lingering on longer than ever. So, hey, they did it. Credit to them.
Yeah, I mean, Francisco Lindor is going to be the face of the franchise for a while. So if they manage to do this whole trade and extension thing that the Dodgers did with Mookie Betts last year, you guys got a good one.
Let's go.
What that means on DJ LeMahieu back on the Yankees.
That's a good point. And Frankie Lindor killed you guys. He used to beat up the Yankees, so I mean, don't have to worry about the Indians anymore. Not that you really ever were, but
don't worry about it. Severino's back.
Oh God! All right, we're not talking about the Yankees. We're wrapping up if we start talking about the Yankees. All right, final thoughts going into the playoffs this weekend. Who's gonna upset this weekend? Let's end with that. Who's gonna upset? One word answer. Go.
Rams over Seahawks.
Okay.
Wolford train, baby. Let's go. If Goff was playing, I wouldn't have picked them.
Browns over Steelers. Nick Chubb breaks some records because he's gonna beast mode in the playoffs.
I like it.
Okay. I think I'm on the same boat. I think just with the whole COVID situation with Cleveland, everybody's counting him out. And Big Ben's bound to choke. So.
Oh, you hate Big Ben.
I hate Big Ben. So.
Yeah.
All right, and that's that. That's episode 1. We did it.
I love it.
Show, y'all. Damn.
That was great.
I'm excited
Thanks
about
for all the questions at the bottom. Hopefully next week we can get Alex to finally man up and come on the show and show his face. He's been hiding on the app his whole app career. So, and make sure everybody gets your questions in on the app if you want to get your name out there for next week. We love all the hot fire questions.
Yep. Whoever asked me the sandwich question this week, I'm expecting another good food question next week. So
that's right.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Let's do it.
All right. Same time, same place next Thursday, right?
See you then.
Last thing I will say, we have we're in the works to get an NFL player to be hosting their own show on the uSTADIUM Live Network, which has just launched. So please follow the YouTube, follow us on Twitch, and on the app. And yeah, we got an NFL player in the works. We will be announcing it very soon to be launching their own show on the uSTADIUM Live Network. And this is the first show, so we're going to keep the grind on. And thanks for everyone for all their questions and stuff.
Yes, sir. Good stuff.
All right. Next Thursday, 4:00. See you guys then.
See you then.
Let's do it.